Good morning, everybody. How are you? I'm Tanya Baldwin. I'm from Mind, Body, Spirit, Healthy Self. I am also from Trauma Talk, which is the podcast / live talk that I do, as well as my reels. That's what they're called. And the reason why I chose Trauma Talk, I've never actually spoke about this before, but the reason why I chose to really brand everything with Trauma Talk, Trauma Wellness, is the name of my program. But the reason why I've brought that in is because I think that trauma really needs to come into the forefront. I think that, people have a misconception about what trauma is. They don't understand necessarily if they've even experienced trauma themselves. A lot of times we think of trauma as being war, right? Or you think of extreme cases of abuse and you think that's trauma. But trauma is what is left with you after you've experienced an event. Trauma can happen from not being in war. It can happen from not being extremely abused. It can be from being neglected, by not having your needs met. And when we're children, we don't have the capacity to soothe. We look to our parents to teach us how to soothe. And if our parents don't teach us how to soothe our emotions, then we're left with the inability to regulate our emotions as we become, teenagers and then on to adulthood. And that inability to regulate our emotions is often what gives us a lot of issue within our relationships and our work environments, right? When you're already overwhelmed because you've been trying so hard to keep this safe environment for yourself since being a child, right? It's easy to be hyper vigilant, always looking for the next thing that's coming at you. And that hyper awareness, we often miscategorize things, right? We allow our brain to take control, and our brain will look at, somebody made an eye motion, or, you notice the small little cues in the face or shifts in body language. And you start to wonder what that means. And it's easy for us to imagine that what that means is something negative and something towards us, because that's what protects us. That's how we protect ourselves, is by looking out there and saying, oh, what's that? What's that? What's that? What's that change? And I still do it at times. Although I try to notice when I'm doing it and remind myself that it's not a permanent thing, right? You have to teach your body what safety feels like. And then from where that safety, you've found how it feels, then you can navigate back to safety whenever you start to get out of that space. So I pulled cards today. I love the cards that came up. I haven't read them, but I know at least, the one card, I know what it means. So I'm going to read those cards and see how they relate to you. Now, remember, you just take what resonates. What doesn't resonate, you just let it go. Maybe it was meant for someone else. But I have 3 cards. I have 1 tarot, which I'll read first, and then I have 2 oracle cards, and I'll tell you what decks they're from. If you're on the YouTube channel, if you want to subscribe, and then you can hit the bell notification so you get notified when I go live. And yeah, if you're on Facebook, feel free, if you're not following me or you're not part of my groups, to just let me know, and I can get you into those, because I do share a lot of content throughout all of my groups. My Divine Feminine Healing Collective is a group of women, and I do moon rituals. We follow the cycle of the moon, or the moon phases, as a way of allowing us an opportunity throughout the month to always have the new moon as an opportunity to set intentions and goals, and the full moon to be the opportunity to release things that aren't working for us and let go of things. So, and I do crystal and energy healing within that group through meditation, and we talk about how the moon affects you because of your sun, rising, and moon signs. So if that's something that sounds interesting to you, let me know and I can send you a link for that. So the cards for today, let's get to the action. But first, coffee. I like my coffee, my mushroom coffee. The camera keeps losing light. Maybe that'd be better if I just leave that light on. I can see that it's a hair on there's a hair on the screen. I thought it was on my nose. That's hilarious. That's what happens when you have dogs. Okay. So the card that I pulled was the Magician. And the funny thing is this one came up a couple of days ago. It didn't get pulled I had pulled the Emperor, and when I went to show it, I had reached in the deck and accidentally grabbed this card, and I went, nope, that wasn't the card, it was this one. So it's interesting that it came up a couple days later. So the Magician is part of the major arcana. There's 22 major arcana cards in the deck, the tarot deck, and this is number 1. So if you're looking for what number it is, in case that matters to you. So I'll read it all. I'll read the Light Seer and the Shadow Seer, because it may resonate more in the inverted position for some of us, but it's always good to take the warning of the Shadow Seer. So the Light Seer is skill, natural talents, powers of manifestation, creativity, resourcefulness. In the Shadow Seer position is unused potential, latent talents, questionable intentions, manipulation, selfishness, unfocused or blocked creative energy. The Magician brings forth a powerful message of creation and potential. You are magic. We all are. You have everything you need to succeed. Badass manifesting energy from the cosmos, all the skills you require, they're at your fingertips. Beautiful creator, go create. Activate the magic in your veins by focusing your energy, willpower, desire, and actions. When you consciously step into your personal power and decide to shape the material world in this way, every breath in and every breath out is an opportunity to carve new meanings and new perspectives into reality. So we are creators, right? And I mean, I'll do it easily. Anything that's ever been made in this world came from someone's imagination, right? So by definition, we are absolutely all creators. We all create different things at different times in our life. Some of us think we're more creative because we're creating things like art, because art is considered to be a more of a creative element. But we're creating all the time. If you're organizing, if you're putting an organization system in your house, you're creating a system of organization. And it might be different than what anyone else has come up with, right? So there's different ways that we create, but every idea, everything that we hold started in our mind. Everything out here began in here. So remember that you are a creator. You are capable of creating anything. And the biggest thing is that you can do so many things. Like, you really are magic, right? You don't have to do the same things that everybody else does. You can pick something completely new. I know people that do incredibly different things, like wide varieties of things, because of of where I am within my life and my career and stuff. But, like people that, like, when you just think about just all the different jobs that are out there, it's sheer, like, it's mind blowing. Of course, I'm one of those people that would have been like, I want to do that, and I want to do that, and I want to do that. And just, it would be overwhelmed with the sheer choices that were available. So if you are unsure of your ability to create the life you desire, trust in the latent potential that resides within you. Feeling less than inspired at this time reminds you that it's time to find your muse, find your spark, find your why. With everything you need in front of you, like a giant universe cauldron, what is it that you desire to bring to life? And what can you do today that will bring it one step closer to reality? And the affirmation is, I can manifest the life I desire through energy and action. In case anyone wants to get a picture of that. And if you're on the live watching, if you wouldn't mind just dropping a comment so I can see where you're watching from or who's watching, I would appreciate that. I like to see who's watching for sure. So the next card that I pulled, though, is from the Shaman's Dream Oracle. So this one's an oracle card, and that's the deck. And the card that was pulled was Winter's Dream, Gestation Period. So let's see who this resonates with. And again, I will read it I just will read the entire thing. So take what resonates with you and let go of what doesn't. So Winter's Dream, Gestation Period, Sanctuary, Conscious Awareness. Hi, how are you? Lovely. Is it nice there? Are you getting some good fall colors right now? We have our trees, the leaves are falling off in Alberta at a just rapid rate. It's just interesting. It's like fall flipped a switch and said, hi, I'm here. And winter's like, yeah, just wait, I'm coming. But in Minnesota, you should be having some beautiful fall colors right now. I know in Ontario they are. My son sent me a video of all the fall colors. That's where I'll be next month. So the Winter's Dream is a summons to go within. Your life force longs to turn inward, like the sap of trees returning to roots. Cast your gaze towards the deep and hidden places in your heart. Come to rest again in the sanctuary and safety of your soul and be at peace, basking in your crystalline clarity in that quiet place. This is not hibernation. Do not fall asleep. Take your quiet, wakeful nature with you into stillness and know that you are replenishing your life force. Trust that deep buried seeds inside your soul, the ones you planted even before you were born, are stirring softly, ready to awaken in the spring. But do not try to rouse them early. Instead, surrender to the quiet of winter's dream. I feel like this one really relates with the magician, right? Because the magician's talking about acknowledging that you're magic and being creative and creating what you need. Yeah, I know. It's like 2 degrees in the morning. Yesterday, there was so much frost and like it was crazy. It's coming so fast, so fast. And he says, slow down. I'm not ready to let go of summer. I'm not ready to let go of the warm. Winter's dream can lull you into a slumber where you can lose consciousness and become caught in the nightmare. Awaken, awaken. Find that easy return to a wakefulness that brings you clarity. This is a time to set your priorities in order and yet not act on any of them. Allow the clarity and transparency of what comes with winter's dream to permeate your heart and soul. The time for action will come later. Remember that all things are born of dreams, and your task is to wake up within the dream to lucidly guide it to your chosen destination. So between the two of them, the magician, thinking about I can manifest the life I desire through energy and action. Maybe what you need to do if you're not ready because you haven't thought of something creative yet. I'm in Alberta right now, and we'll be in Ontario in November. I'm moving back to Ontario, and yeah, in Alberta, it's cold. It's chilly. It's chilly in the mornings, but it'll be like 20 degrees today. And I know in the States that probably doesn't translate very well, but it's going to be a warm day. The whole weekend's going to be warm in the afternoon, but it's going to be chilly mornings, like 2 to 4 degrees in the morning. So between the two cards so far, the message that we're having is about manifesting the dream. But maybe for some of us, our dream isn't quite ready. We need to think about it a little bit more, get a little bit clear, put the work in behind the scenes and get it going, right? So action, but the action needs to be percolated on a little bit so that you get exactly what you want from it. Put your duckies in a line. Get your duckies in a row. So I've never pulled this card before from this deck. This is from the Wisdom Oracle deck, and this is Yin. And what I do know about Yin is it's a feminine energy. And I know that the card that's in the number 1 position of this deck is Yang, which is the male energy or the masculine energy, divine masculine. This would represent divine feminine. So let's see what Yin's message is. So again, I will read how it relates in the upright, but also how it relates in the inverted position or in the protection space. So Yin, the essential meanings of this card is the feminine principle of receptivity, letting someone else make the first move, gathering information and taking in cues, the art of conscious allowing. The Oracle's message. This is a time of calculated receptivity as you gracefully await what is coming to you, ready to accept it when it appears. Yin does not involve frozen dreams or even resting, but rather consciously allowing things to flow to you. So we're in that waiting state. That's what the whole message is today, is creating, getting a good idea and a good vision about what you want and percolating on that, getting the plans, like getting it all in order and then bringing it to the world and being receptive of what other people are bringing to you at the same time. I think it's beautiful. Hi, Linda. It is chilly, but I'm keeping warm. I got my long shirt on this morning. And I think that today I might, because I packed and sent a bunch of my stuff to Ontario, which actually arrives today. And I was like, I thought I planned my clothes better, but I didn't really think about how cool it gets in October. And so I need to go and grab a couple of long shirts or something from the store today. So, I mean, oh dang, I'm going to go shopping. I don't have a lot of time though, so I have to be quick because I'm also supposed to change my brakes today on my car, which is going to be a new thing for me. And I definitely am not doing it wearing this shirt. I have to put on coveralls to keep my clothes safe. This is my first time doing brakes, and I have to say that I have a low level, little bit of fear. I've been around other people doing breaks. In my childhood, I grew up in around grease monkeys. And so I did have to bleed a lot of brakes as a child. I had to pump the brake pedal over and over and over again until they bled the brakes out. But this is the first time that I'm doing them myself. I don't even have a helper today. I thought I might have a helper arranged, and so I'm a little bit terrified because it's all by myself. But I'm just going to take my time. I'm going to watch a YouTube video. I'm going to plan. See, I'm going to do everything that these cards are telling me. Take your time. Wait a little bit. Figure it all out. Plan it. So yin does not involve frozen dreams. It's about flow. Okay. So poised to receive the bounty that will be available to you. It implies sensitivity as you alertly study the actions of others and contemplate how they will affect you and yours. Remember, you must make space for miracles to appear. Be the shaped, not the shaper, and you'll see how quickly the dreams manifest. So if you're asking questions around relationship, oh, I love it. Oh, I love that. Oh, you should. I will drop you my Calendly link because I would love to have a conversation with you and give you some, like, a little bit of tips or guidance that will get you on your way. So this is a relationship message that this card holds. Let others take the lead right now. Your power lies in small gestures, soft awareness, and conscious surrender. By yielding the reins, you will find yourself effortlessly moving closer to what you truly desire. Permit others to tell you who they are and who they can be to you by allowing their actions to speak for them. You will be pleasantly surprised. Sometimes we get pleasantly surprised. Sometimes we're like, no, we knew that was a spade and it is a spade, and a spade is always a spade. Sometimes people do surprise us. And I know from being someone with a lot of trauma and not having worked on my trauma before entering into 3 relationships and then enacting my trauma out in those relationships. The control factor, right? For those of us who grew up in really unstable environments, we become adults who are controlling, and not necessarily controlling in the overt way where we're like, you can't do this and you can't do that, and you have to be home at this time, and I'm going to take your money. Like, I don't mean like overtly controlling, but there's covert control where, you try these small little things to just keep your environment as safe and stable as possible. So, you're trying to control certain elements of it. And sometimes that's what ends up creating the friction and the problems within it. If we just allow them to just be, then they reveal themselves to us. And sometimes you're right, we can be pleasantly surprised, and maybe they show up in a better way. So the prosperity message of this card is, this is a time when the most effective action is to allow others to show you the way forward. Observe their behavior and follow their lead. Your desire to push through must take a back seat for now. Collaborate and offer your ideas rather than dictating what must happen. Let others come to you. It is important that they feel they have power now. Another meaning is about releasing your need to have things in the form you want. How do you want to feel basking in your success? Allow the universe to show you that form. Yin is the sign of essence. Things may go more smoothly than you expect. So just allowing it to arrive, right? Sometimes we're go, 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 right? Sometimes just be. So the protection message. So this is if the card had showed up in the inverted position, and it might resonate with others to see it like this. Do you have trouble receiving? You stop the flow of abundance when you continually insist upon being the giver. That's true. You can't always lead, always give, always teach. You must be the student, the open vessel, and the one who receives the gift, gesture, or offer in equal measure. Open up and let love, life, abundance, and spirit fill you without demand or expectation. Just receive the bounty that is yours. That's a really good message, right? The protection message of yin, because we do that. Like, there are a lot of us out there, and there's the notion of the givers and the takers, right? The takers don't have limits. They don't. They just take and take and take and take. And for us givers, oftentimes we just give and give and give and give and give, and we don't realize that there has to be a give and take, and we deserve and should receive from what we're giving. But we have to be open to accept that. And some of us aren't open to accepting from other people. Some of us have been let down so many times by partners and parents and people in our lives that we don't want to be open to receiving, because we don't believe, more than anything, we just don't believe that people are going to be there for us. They're not going to support us. They're not going to, help us. We've been let down so many times. Why would we sit there and go, yeah, sure, they're going to show up, or yeah, I'm going to be open to receiving what somebody else is going to give me when they've not shown that they're capable of doing that. And when you make that shift, though, you will find that people don't respond too well to it. When you've been, the person that's always helping and always doing and being this big people pleaser, which a lot of times that's how it comes out, is in the dynamic or in the trauma response of people pleaser, or fawn is the other name for it. But when we do that, yeah, we have a hard time receiving. People that are givers, they give and give and give. They help and help and help. And when we suddenly decide, hey, wait a second, I'm the one that is giving and giving and giving, and I should be able to receive, or I'm going to put my needs first, or I'm going to take care of me, or if I'm going to give, I'm going to give to myself. And the people around us just like, what? They don't judge. They don't deal well when we change. Yes. And we get that motion too, right? We have expectations that we have put upon other people. We have these expectations that of how we expect life to be, or in our creation of safety, in the ways that we've went through our lives to make ourselves feel safe. We have these specific ways that we like to do things, these ways that our container of our life has to be shaped. And we want people to fill that container the same way and do the same things, right? And when they don't, that makes us feel unsafe again, because we've worked hard to get there. I'm working right now on getting my body to recognize that this body is home, that the place that I live in is just a house, because I move around so much, and I could be moving around even more in my future. I have no idea what the future really holds. I'm not a fortune teller, and I don't predict the future. I have dreams and goals for the future, but I live in the moment, because this moment is the only real moment that exists. Everything else is just in your mind, right? So when I'm imagining my future, I'm imagining the best future possible. And when I'm thinking about the past, I'm trying to look at the highlight reels. I know what my story was. I don't want to identify to it anymore. It's the same thing with using language like I am, or I have, or, that ownership to things. I try to be really careful what I determine that I own. So I don't own that I am sick. I don't say that. I don't say that. I say I am healthy, right? Or I am healing. I am healing from a cold, right? But I don't say I have a cold, because I don't want to own that. Right. So I started using language in a different way too, which is really interesting. So those are the cards for today. So it's all about realizing that you are magic, that you have so much to give to the world, that you are creative, that you are abundant, you have all these abilities to sit and think. And, in that gestation period, allow ideas and people to come to you, be receptive, be a student, be curious, be open, and ideas will come to you, and just percolate on those ideas, make a little bit of a plan, and then go forward into the world with this beautiful new idea, or this beautiful new creation that you are going to birth. So take the time in this moment to just be and receive, and things will come to you. And love yourself. Always love yourself. That's my biggest thing. Lead with love. That's my jam, is lead with love and then follow your bliss. When you lead with love, that means that you're filling yourself up full of love, and you're applying the love to yourself first. And once you're full of love, then it just overflows to everybody around you, and they will get extra love because you love yourself so well. Then you do follow your bliss. When you follow your bliss, you're doing the things that make you happy, regardless of what it does for other people. Make yourself happy. And when you're happy and joyful, you're like a magnet of sunshine. When you take love and joy and you combine them, and you are in that emotion of love and joy, you are just like a sun on earth that people just naturally gravitate to. They want whatever you've got. They want what you're experiencing. They want to be around you because you feel like sunshine. So fill yourself up full of love, take care of yourself. And when you love yourself, everyone else will get loved around you, and follow your bliss so that you're full of joy, because you only got one life, right? So why waste it? Why waste it doing things that other people think that you should do, right? If someone told you you had to be an engineer, that you had to be a mechanical engineer, that's what your parents were like, yep, the only job you can do is be a mechanical engineer. That's the only thing we accept here. You have to be a mechanical engineer. We want you making good money. We want to know that you're going to be able to take care of yourself. Well, what if you are in love with animals and you give up your whole life not doing that? Or what if somebody told you you can't dance, and inside your heart just lightens up. It just comes alive. It just comes alive with dance. You would listen to somebody tell you that you shouldn't do that, and rob your life of all that joy that you could have. I did that with my singing. People told me I couldn't sing, that they couldn't, make faces at me as a child. Hi. I just dropped out of there. Just the internet went blah, 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 and then it was being all weird. I just dropped out of there. Just the internet went blah, 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 and then it was being all weird. I just dropped out. And now I have an echo. So anyway, I'm going to close the broadcast off. I love you guys. And now I have an echo. Thank you so much for joining me. I love you guys. Thank you so much for joining me. I love you guys.